Hi, it's Mike, and thanks for joining me on this video about block elements and inline elements. And yes, I know this is these elements are HTML; they're not CSS. But the thing is, we need to understand the HTML that we're styling with our with our CSS. So that's why I'm doing this video. And sort of the series of CSS videos are done in a certain order. We started out by understanding what CSS is, and then we looked at the syntax, then we looked at adding colors to text and backgrounds, then we looked at the box model, and now we're having a little deep dive back into HTML for a purpose, because the next video we're going to cover is talking about positioning these block elements and positioning inline elements as well. So that's why I'm doing this, so bear with. So the learning objectives: understand the difference between block elements and inline elements. Well, we've written HTML code, there's headers, there's paragraphs, and what we've seen so far is that each one of these follows from top to bottom, and if they do go top to bottom, they are block elements. And another thing to mention about block elements is that they span the width of the parent that they are in, and I'll come on to parents in a moment. Inline elements, however, they don't go top to bottom, they run left to right, and we're going to code some stuff in a minute and we'll see this. So just to sort of refresh on this, the majority of HTML elements are block elements. They are 100% of the width of their parent. Inline elements, however, they are 100% the width of themselves and nothing to do with the parent. So what's this parent and children malarkey? Well, here we've got some HTML, we've got a body, closing and opening tag, and within the body we have a header. Within the header we've got an H1 that's called child of header. Then we've got an article tag, opening and closing, and within the article we've got 3 paragraph tags. The first one is the first child of the article, the second one is the second child of an article, and then the third one is the third child of an article. So you can see a pattern performing here, or forming here. And looking at parents and children from the sort of top down, if you like, the body is the parent of the header article, the header and also the article. The header is the parent of the H1 within it. However, the header is also the child of the body because it is within the body section. Let's have a look at the article. It is the parent of the 3 P tags that we've just spoken about, but also it's the child of the body because it is inside that body. Okay, let's just have a little look at inline elements. We've spoken about block elements being top to bottom. These pesky little things go left to right, not top to bottom. So, for example, there's B for bold, I for italics, U for underline, subscript, and superscript. The anchor tags for links, the image tag for images, the span tags for spans, then button, input, label, select, and text areas, everything to do with forms. All these are inline elements. Okay, so let's do a bit of coding and let's figure out what's going on here with block elements and inline elements. Okay, as usual, on the left-hand side, I've got my text editor. I'm using Text Wrangler. It's pretty basic, but you'll be able to see my errors, and no doubt you'll have errors as well. And this is a good practice to know where the errors are, so we can do some debugging in the future. On the right-hand side, I've got my internet browser. I'm using Google Chrome at the moment, and you can see the H1, which is inline, and block, which is on the left-hand side in the HTML. And then in the HTML, I've got 3 P tags, and you can see them on the right-hand side in the browser. So you'll note that the second of the P tag says, I am a third child of the body. And then there's the 4th child of the body. Well, hang on. What's going on here? Well, of course, H1 is the first child of the body, and then this one here is the second child of the body. Oops. This one here is the second child of the body. Okay, so those because they're one underneath the other, those are known as block tags. So let's have a look at an inline, and I said an anchor tag is inline, so I'm just going to create an anchor tag that I'll put the octothorpe in there so it's not going to go anywhere. And let's presume I'm creating some navigation feature on my web page. I'm going to copy that one and then repeat it 3 times. When you're a web developer, you might want to create a portfolio and maybe a page about you, and then you want your users to be able to contact you. So I'm going to hit save with those 4 anchor tags. I'm coming across to the right hand side and hit refresh, and there we see the 4 links, but now they're not one underneath the other, they're left to right, and these are inline tags. There's another one which I'll create now, and these are buttons. Of course, you know, we see buttons on every web page all over the place. I'm going to create the first one, and I'm going to create a second one. The first one I'll call Click Me, which is pretty obvious, but we're just playing around here to make things obvious. And the next one I've got Click Me Too, so I've just hit save, coming over to the browser, I'm clicking refresh, and the 2 buttons have appeared. I might just zoom in a bit. So you've got the 4 anchor tags all in a line, and then you've got these 2 buttons which are also in a line. You know, I sort of haven't, and they've followed the same line, so that's pretty annoying in sort of web design terms. So we're going to have to play around with that, and you know, we're going to design our pages with cascading style sheets, and this is why I needed to show you this right now before we get on to more sort of super duper things. So what I could do, just to break these buttons out from the anchor tags, I'm going to put a break link in, sorry, a break tag here. That's just BR, so pointy brackets, BR, closey brackets, and I'm going to hit save. I'm just fingers crossed this is going to work. And it has. It's pushed the buttons below the anchor tags. You can see that in the browser on the right hand side. Sometimes those BR tags aren't well, they're not pretty in styling terms. I'm going to just put another one in because these buttons are pretty close to the anchor tag. So I'm just going to hit put another BR tag in. I'm hitting save and coming across. And you can see the buttons now are just like one below the other. But because there are 2 buttons and they're both side by side, we can see both of them are anchor tags. Okay, so let's add a bit of styling to this because we haven't added any styles. So again, left-hand side in the text editor, I'm creating a body, and what I want to do is I'm going to give the body a margin. That's not a margin, I forgot the G. And I'm going to give it body 0 auto, and this will effectively center everything. I'm going to give it a width. In this, I'll just go 600 px for pixels. I'm going to give it a background color. This will be important in a moment. You know, it's hard typing in public, if you like, but nevertheless, I think it's worth it. I'm going to give this a background color of beige. I was going to give it magnolia. I'm ex-Air Force child, so everything was painted magnolia. But magnolia isn't a sort of web standard color name, so I've given it beige. I'm going to hit save now. I'm going to hit refresh on the browser, and you can see that the inline and everything has got this beige background. Now, I just want to get rid of that margin auto thing because that's not helpful in this instance. So apologies about that. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to have a look at the width of the P tags, Okay, each of the p tags, and remember from a couple of slides ago, I said that inline blocks. What am I talking about? Block level elements of HTML have the width of the parent, so it should have the width of the body. So I'm going to give the p tags a background color. Oh, I don't know. Let's go pink. It's probably too much of a pink to deal with, but because it'll be too bright. So let's have a P. Let's have a P. I've just had one. A paragraph tag. So all the P tags, all the paragraph tags are going to have a background color of pink. I'm going to hit save. I'm going to hit refresh. And now, guess what? I've given the body a width of 600, and you can see that each of the paragraph tags has a width of 600. Hey, how about that? Now, what I'm going to do is now give the anchor tags, the A tags that we put down here. These are inline elements, yeah? I'm going to select the A tags in my CSS, so you can see here I've selected the A tag. I'm going to give it a background color. I'm going to copy that so I don't have to type it out again. And what shall we do? I'll tell you what, I do love this color. It's called Badass, and I haven't found it myself. I found it from another developer somewhere, and it's a hexagon. It's a hexadecimal color, so BAD 455, otherwise known as Badass. I'm going to hit save, come over to the browser, and I'm going to hit refresh, and there you see it's this sort of light green. But the key thing is, I'm going to zoom on in here. Because these are inline elements, each one is 100% the width of itself. So you can see there's these little gaps here between home and portfolio, and there's another gap between portfolio and about. Then there's another one between about and contact. So in web design terms, this is what I sort of want you to get over from this this short video. Okay, so block elements run from top to bottom, and they are the 100% the width of their parent, whereas the inline elements, such as links and such as buttons, yeah, they will run right to left, left to right, and they are 100% the width of themselves. Okay, please remember this, because this is going to be important as we move on. So let's go back to our slides. Okay, so the learning objectives of this was to understand the difference between block elements and inline elements. They can all be styled with CSS later on, but in order to be able to do that, you need to understand the difference between the two. Okay, so block elements, they run with a natural flow, that is top to bottom of HTML. Also, they are 100% the width of the parent. Inline elements are slightly different. They run from left to right, and they are only the width of themselves. Effectively, they ignore the width of the parent element. So that's it from this video. I hope you sort of grasped that. If you didn't, go back to the beginning and have a little listen again, and hopefully it will become clear. What I'm doing here is building up your knowledge so that we can style some awesome stuff. Okay, so the next video we're going to cover positioning our elements with CSS. But before you move on to that, you need to get a grip of blocks and inlines. That's it. Thanks ever so much for watching.